Goodness and gracious, I am Renee.
I was like, I wonder if she's going to get messed up because I kept saying it.
And I'm back in my spot.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
I gave in. I'm Chrissy, by the way, and I gave her spot back.
I did.
She didn't beg for it. You didn't beg for it.
I just whined a little bit last time. But
yeah. I mean,
it just felt weird.
It felt weird to me, too. I was just trying to mix it up a little bit.
I know.
But, you know, they
and
probably
that's
don't
good.
even care which side we're sitting on.
Did anybody even notice? If we wouldn't have said anything on the last part, would they have noticed?
They probably wouldn't have noticed. I don't think so. So we're back on our subject of sanctification. Sanctification is not a rite of passage for the lost. And this segment is going to be called, What is Our Responsibility? So the last time, it was, How Can We Know? This one is, What is Our Responsibility? So.
And we all have one.
Yep. We're hoping that you have had time to think about our last episode. Which was, like I said, sanctification is not a rite of passage for the lost. Passage for the lost. How can we know? So I want to go over some things from the last time before we move forward. First, it is important to understand that the topic of sanctification cannot be tackled in 2 episodes of a podcast. We never intended it for it to be that. So for context, let's remind everyone what the definition of rite of passage is. You want to remind them, Renee?
Sure. Okay. A ritual, event, or experience that marks or constitutes a major milestone or change in a person's life. To go a bit further, rites of passage celebrates the social movement of individuals into and out of groups or into or out of
Statuses.
Statues? That doesn't make statuses of critical importance to the individual and to the community. I kept thinking statues. It's like, wait a minute.
She done it again. She made me say something that it's not up there. I'm just I had it right
okay, we got through it. That's good.
So this, to me, sounds very similar to the sanctification process. The sanctification process is a series of experiences with God, events with God that mark major milestones or changes in our lives. These changes move us in and out of statuses with God that are of critical importance to not only us, but to the kingdom. So we talked about how can we know last time? And that question is directed at both the lost and the saved. So on the outside, many times, looks can be deceiving. So the question is posed to the lost and to the saved both because it is a dose of reality. Okay? So to our lost listeners, this rite of passage is not yours. It is a tale as old as time. I said that.
I got it.
I'm putting this in.
You got to sing that. Tale as old as time.
You don't want to hear that. You don't want them to tune out because.
Listen, you sang happy birthday to me that one week.
That was good. I did a good job.
Myself here.
Comedic gold there. But it is a tale as old as time. The lost become associated with Christians. Maybe they come into a church for the first time. They get involved with what is going on because they can just sense that this group of people have something way different than what they themselves have. They want that, or do they? They want the feelings that it brings, but they do not want the commitment. And churches are full of these people, just absolutely full of people that they get in, they see how the Christians are, they see what the Christians do, they think they want it, but then they don't want to commit. They just want the feelings that come along with it. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between saved people on the sanctification path and lost people trying to mimic the process. The lost people inside the church that are trying to mimic a walk with God are tired people. They're absolutely tired. You should be able to spot them. Trying to hold on to both worlds is exhausting. And the fact is, you really don't have a hold on one of the worlds. You have a hold on the acts and traditions and practices of people who have a hold on or the actual life in that other world. Lost people don't have what we have. They just don't. And Paul told the Corinthian church, and I think that it is fitting here for any lost listeners or anyone that is trying to help someone that is not saved. And that's in 2 Corinthians. We're going to read that for us.
2 Corinthians 13:5, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith, prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates?
Mm-hmm. So what is a reprobate? It's a sinner who is not saved and will spend eternity in hell. It pretty much sums it up right there. I took some definition here and I kind of put it together, but it's the same thing. And no matter how hard you may be working to be like those Christians that are having such a good time serving God, being like them is not going to benefit you at all. Your responsibility, because we want to talk about what our responsibility is to examine yourself. You can fool others. You can fool your friends. You can fool your family, people inside the church, including the pastor, for a while. But you cannot fool God. So your responsibility as a lost person is to examine yourself. So what is the church's responsibility? Well, the church has many responsibilities in this process that I like to call cultivating. One, we should recognize our need to play offense, not defense. This is something that this term was used at the Lifeway Summit, playing offense and not defense. God has the defense part down pat, and he does not need your help. He doesn't need my help when it comes to this, okay? So imagine this. I do not know football, but stick with me, okay?
This
so
could be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting. So you have a new guy on your team, that you have never heard of before, okay? You don't know him from Adam. You have no idea if he knows how to play football or not. The coach has decided to put him in the game. In the first play, you find out real quick that this guy has no idea what he is doing. That would be me. He drops the ball. He trips on the field. He's down more than he's up. Clearly,
like me.
That's me, 100%. Clearly, this guy is not a football player. I am sure he likes football. I am sure he likes watching the players do their thing on the field. I am sure the players make it look really easy because, they have been training for this. But this guy is not a football player in the truest sense of the word. But the coach said he's to play. So here we are. The play begins. This guy somehow gets the ball. Oh man, what now? So this guy that has no idea what to do, he gets the ball. So what are you going to do as a well-seasoned, well-trained player? Are you going to leave him out there on his own to try to get to the end zone with that pigskin that he clearly has not had in his hands very often in his life? No, you're not going to do that. If you are any kind of player with any kind of class, you're going to get behind him and guard him all the way to the end zone as he runs towards the goal. So what is the goal when it comes to the church? True salvation. That opens the door to actually being a part of the church and enjoying the joys of being in the church. So that was all number one.
Why did you use baseball?
Well, I mean...
Because you know more about baseball.
Well, I do know more about baseball, yes. But I thought baseball it just works a little bit different. So, 2, love. Your responsibility is love. So, being in Christ allows you to experience love, giving and receiving in an unadulterated form. And what does unadulterated mean? It means it's not mixed or diluted with any different or any extra elements. It's complete and absolute. You, Christian, have this and the ability to use it. So use it every time, all the time. Love should be the theme. It should be the mantra of the Christian life. Not adulterated love that is mixed with things that should not belong in it and do not belong in it, but pure love. We have this. He has given it to us to share. I have said it before, and I will keep saying it. My favorite saying comes from Matthew 22. Will you read that for us?
Matthew 22:37-40. Jesus said unto them, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and prophets. My glasses are, my eyes are just kind of low.
So to sum this up is my favorite thing. Love God,
love people.
It's very simple. We must remember that it is not adulterated love mixed with things that do not belong. Tainted is what we would call it. This is unadulterated love, godly love, love in its purest form.
And it's not that you're supposed to love all people.
Mm-hmm.
And I come to find the older I get, the easier it is on somewhat.
It's because we're more seasoned.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that you're going along with, say there's someone that sins or does something specific or whatever that's not biblical. So it would be a sin.
Yeah.
It's not that you condone that sin, because you don't.
Right.
But you still love that person.
Yes.
So
I think more too, it has to do with the closer we get to Jesus. The closer you get to Jesus, the more that you understand what he has saved you from and how he's forgiven you.
Right.
And then we turn that around on other people. So in essence, somebody who is newly saved does not even have the ability really to love someone else in an unadulterated form, because they haven't spent that time with Jesus and formed that relationship. So I think and it becomes more sweeter as we grow closer to him. It becomes, okay, so in the beginning, when you start seeing what God expects of you, because this is what he's given you and what you have to relay, it's a little bit hard, you know what I'm saying? But as you grow and you grow closer to him wanting you to treat someone the same way he has treated you becomes sweet. Mm-hmm. And you finally look at yourself and you're able to see, this is what God wants of me. And I don't have to do it. He's doing it.
Right.
It's a fun thing. So 3. Example. As a Christian, your life, your mission that you have chosen to accept, and you have chosen to accept it if you're a Christian, is a continuous, never-ending series of examples being set. What do you want that to look like? Better yet, what does Christ say that should look like? It means that no matter what company you are in, your actions, your words, your behavior, everything points to Jesus. That is a great responsibility. Mm-hmm. It should be enough to make us stand up and take notice of the importance of this. And along with example, remember this: if people are not on the path, we desire to point them to the starting line, which is salvation. If they are new to this race, we point them to the basic understanding. If they have been on this path for a bit, we want to point them to deeper things. And if they are closer to the end of their journey than they are to the beginning, we want to point them to the importance of what they are leaving behind. And knowing the difference between these types of people will prove to be difficult sometimes, but remember that it is not part of our job description to separate them. Our job is to assess the needs of the individual based on assess the needs of the individual based on what we can see and point them to Jesus. So that's not judging. We're not talking about judging here, but we are talking about judging. So we're not judging whether someone is worthy of what Jesus has done for them. We are judging where they're at on that path. If they haven't met him yet, we're pointing them to Jesus in a salvation way. Okay. So here are some things to remember when loving people in a way that Jesus wants you to love them. Okay. So I got these from someone in particular that I listen to, preaching wise. I pretty much stay to the same people all the time because I don't have time to listen to a whole bunch of different people. So all of these came from listening to this particular person, the sermons that they put out on a podcast. So those who believe the gospel become like the gospel, love accordingly. So if you believe it, you're going to become like it. And when we're talking about other people, what the church's role is in the sanctification process, what is our responsibility? We're going to love accordingly. We're going to assess the person, and we're going to look at, do they believe the gospel? Because if they believe the gospel, then they are a new creature, and they're going to become like the gospel. Now, everyone does things differently, so we have to be patient. That's why we are going to God in prayer. God, what do you want me to do with this person? What do you want me to say to them?
I think that's the biggest key, is to be patient, because I've seen too many people want to rush the Holy Spirit in these people's lives, and it basically just pushed them right out of the church, and I've never seen them before, again. So it's...
And I think that I think that's been done in a contrary type of attitude.
Right.
I also believe that it can be done in a not contrary. So I believe that we want something for someone so bad, and we want them to get there, but we forget that we have to walk through those things, because we're not going to appreciate it. We talked about the last time what the sanctification process looks like, what it looked like for me, and the things that God changed in my life. Well, why did he choose 4 years into me being saved to deal with me on smoking? Why did he do that? I don't know. But I'm quite certain that there were people around me that knew that I was smoking and were like, what's going on? What am I going to say to this person? But so we can't ever discredit. That's why it's not for us to know sometimes. It's for us to be obeying God and what his word says and how we should relate to other people. Okay.
Just go back to patience real quick.
Okay. I love patience.
My brain just wheels a little bit while you're sitting here, but
bring it up.
It's basically like if we can't be patient with someone, it's almost like we're better than God, because God is so patient with us and so loving. And if we can't be like that, I just almost feel like, well, we're just so much better than him because, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. There's just something in my brain that's not coming out right.
Our standards are higher than God's standards.
It's like we're higher above him, and that's so false. I mean, whatever.
How do we get to that? Well, it's a pride thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm a firm believer that every single sin that you can think of is going to origin is
I didn't catch it.
Oh, somebody would.
Origin.
It's pride. It is. I mean, if you didn't think about it, you're going to be able to take it back to pride, because that's just who we are. We're a prideful people.
Selfish, prideful.
Yes. Yep. So we want things the way we think they should be, and we want other people to do things the way we think they should.
I mean, I fell in that category.
I have too.
I mean, I'm not putting everybody else down.
We're not saying we're guiltless. But that's
okay.
Much.
You may go on.
Okay. I got that in my head. So too, when Jesus is the cornerstone, it changes the whole shape of the building. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't be pursuing and aggressively pursuing someone who is portraying that they're saved, but they're actually lost. I'm not saying we shouldn't aggressively be pursuing them, but how we go about it is key. So but we should be able to tell that when Jesus is the cornerstone, the building, it changes the whole shape of the building. So we should be seeing people take a different shape as they're growing closer to God. Now, I believe, and this is not to discredit Sandhill, 20 years ago, because I believe that God has had a purpose for our church from the very beginning, okay? And you can't look at Sandhill 20 years ago and say it didn't have a purpose, because it did, okay? But I think it's very hard for someone to come in and pretend for very long here. Now.
Yeah.
Before, maybe. But now, it's just not that way. We should be able to see Jesus as that cornerstone and that building taking a totally different shape than what it had before. Okay? Now, third, affection drives direction. So where is your affection? We should be seen as a church, and this is it's not just for for other people. This is for us too. Like our affection drives our direction. So what are we most affectionate about? I would say that one of the things that so if you had to tell someone what I was most affectionate about within the church, what would you say? What would you tell them?
Within the church?
Yeah.
Your Sunday school class?
Yeah. Kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then a close second is going to be the women.
Yeah.
So your affection, what you really care about is we're going to be able to tell what that is based on the direction that you're going. And I'm going to be able to tell what my affection is based on the direction that I'm going. So these are just things that we need to think about, because we tend to lose focus when we start thinking we want things to be a certain way. Now, so I think that we get into a rut where we think that if something is not what it should be, so you have somebody that says that they're saved, they're not living for God, their building is still the same shape, they don't believe the gospel because they're not becoming like the gospel. I think that what's been ingrained in us, we need to just cut that off and get rid of it. Okay. I think that's our defense mechanism. So we feel like we have this that's pursuing God and we have something in it that's not pursuing God. It's time to make a cut and get rid of that because it feels like it's going to bring the whole thing down. But that is contrary to what God says. And I didn't include this in my notes. I apologize, but just let me read this. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From thence then hath it tares. He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while we gather up the tares, we root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So if Jesus is saying, let them all grow together, it's going to be beneficial to let them all grow together because you're not going to be able, you can make a mistake. Mm-hmm. You could make a grave mistake by pulling something up and tossing them out when they're actually on the path. Mm-hmm. And there may, I think there would be a benefit to, even if someone is actually a tare, leaving them in there, and then maybe they will become wheat.
Right.
So it's not our job to be.
No, it's God's job.
Yeah. What is our job? Our job is to point them to Jesus. Our job is to speak Jesus. Our job is to be an example of what Jesus would be. That's what our job is. We forgot our job title. We get out of our lane.
Yeah.
We need to stay in our lane.
We want to play God too much.
We do.
Unfortunately.
So that's all I got.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's all I got. I knew this one would be.
You know where we're going next time?
I don't.
Okay.
Pray for me. I am like, I've been begging, Lord, you need to show me. You need to get through this one first, and then I'll let you know. But I am trusting that He's going to send us in the right direction. But I don't know what that is yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah. I'm good.
These questions are not the greatest because it was like a quick. I got online and kind of tried to find a few. So they're not my best.
Okay. Well, as long as they're easy to answer.
Yeah, they are. All right.
Okay.
Number 1.
Okay.
What is your biggest strength?
It's really not my strength. It's His strength. My biggest strength is my love and commitment to God, but that's not me. That's even that's Him. So I don't really have anything. So he's my biggest.
Okay. So what's your biggest weakness?
Right. My grandkids, probably, as far as I don't know. If I have a weak point, if I have an Achilles heel, it's them.
That makes sense. I get it. I'm a grandma. I get it.
I know. I know you know.
Number 2.
Okay.
What do you think? Is the I knew I was writing so fast. What do you think is the?
Okay.
Okay. What do you think is the most annoying quality a person can have? I kind of thought this was funny.
The way they chew.
Gum, food, and all the above.
All of these.
Basically out loud like that.
Yeah, and other things too. Like I'm thinking of someone in particular. I'm not going to say who it is.
Okay. I'll ask later.
They belong to me, so I can say.
Oh. Number 3.
Okay.
Would you rather smell like eggs or smell like feet?
Oh goodness! Oh, that's so hard. Eggs.
Ooh,
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
I don't know if I'd want to smell like feet.
I don't want to smell like either one of them, but
I mean, if my feet
eggs
smell
are
like feet,
bad.
that's one thing. But if my whole body smell like feet, I don't know.
They're both bad. Yeah. Okay. Would you rather team up with Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel?
Wonder Woman. Duh.
Good answer. Would
Do you have another one?
I have one more. This is the last one.
Okay.
Would you rather have walked on water or heal the sick?
Oh, goodness.
Not that you have that power or
No.
anything.
But if
you did.
one day Jesus said, I'm gonna let you
Yes,
do something.
exactly.
What do you want to do?
Walk on water or heal the sick?
It's so bad because the pride in me wants to say walk on water. But I'm going to be a good girl and I'm going to say heal the sick
you
because I know it'll be a benefit to someone. But if I could walk on water, think about walking on water.
That'd be cool.
That would be so cool.
That wasn't so bad, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Even the last one I didn't get online. That was off my head. All right.
Okay.
So I guess we're done for today.
We're done for today.
I think it's time for a nap. What do you
Until
think?
next time.
All right. See ya.
See ya.